What's up, one and all? This is Dominic D'Angelo. It's a Tuesday. It's Rumor and Innuendo. And I'm here, per usual, with Robert Karpelis, WWE underscore creative-ish. Wait, I screwed that up. WWE creative underscore ish. My goodness.
Damn it,
Wait,
Tom.
do I have COVID now?
No. I can't even imagine. If you had COVID, I feel like you'd just be like walking into a door, like a bad video game character in the background that's just malfunctioning. Yes, I'm here 2 days in a row. Wow. I am the new Charlie Hustle.
That's it. Oh my gosh, yes. Any thoughts on Pete Rose?
That's what I was going to start with. So first, I want to say hi to some of the folks who are here, and then I was going to jumpstart the show and talk about that. E says, hello, y'all. Alt Jake. Good morning, all. Hell of a crazy work week. Can't tune in as much as I would like to live. Here today, though. We'll make it count. Christopher Zanto says, good morning and welcome to R&R Monster Edition. I believe he meant to say R&I, but we'll allow it. Dre Owens, top of the morning, NXT on the C-Dub tonight. My God, Dom, tomorrow we are going to have to talk about NXT on this show. And Andy Borders, morning, boys. Our truth push for the championship is nigh. He might not be that far off, but
it's true.
Want to start at the beginning for this 25-minute edition of Rumor and Innuendo, because I'm just going to right now bury Dom from the beginning. He sends me a note and he's like, hey, we gotta jump off 5 minutes early. I was like, of course, important things happen. He has to interview Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse. We're being bumped for a juggalo.
Whoop.
No. Put your Fago away. And
it's the gathering, guys. Let's gather together.
The gathering of what?
The juggalos, Robert.
I cannot think of a more of a nightmare than being trapped at a gathering of the. I remember being in high school and the kids that were super in to the Insane Clown Posse were kids you generally tried to avoid. I couldn't, because back in the day, hypothetically, theoretically, maybe someone that I knew had one of those cable boxes that allowed you to watch the pay-per-views. And because of it, you kind of had to watch with whoever was there. Some of his friends, juggalos.
How about that? I know. It was the Mr. Malenko shirts and the Jenko jeans, I remember, were a fantastic combination.
Yes. Neither one of those. Pete Rose, what I want to talk about here.
Right.
So Pete Rose obviously passed yesterday. All-time legend. Robbed of the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Major League Baseball is insane. Pete Rose is incredibly important for pro wrestling because he was legitimately one of the biggest names ever to appear at a WWE event and say, to hell with it. I can go out there, doff my cap, and be done. You know, Billy Martin was at WrestleMania. He really didn't do a whole lot. When people host Saturday Night Live, they always say the best hosts are the ones that think they're part of the cast and are just like, I'm here to play. That was Pete Rose. Pete Rose at WrestleMania 14 in Boston understood the assignment. And he went out there. He cut a heel promo that is so damn good. To this day, I will quote that all the time. I was with my buddy Doug Plagans, the play-by-play announcer for the Florida Panthers. And we will constantly do, how about it?
How bad?
It was like, it is ingrained in the lexicon. But what was so great about Pete was he didn't have to do this. He could have just gone out there, done the ring announce, and be done with it. He understood the opportunity that there was to contribute and enhance the product and let his guard down. And I think he paved the way for a lot of celebrity appearances for folks who were more than willing to poke a little fun at their reputation and enjoy it. He's inextricably linked to the legacy of Kane. Obviously, he showed up dressed as the San Diego Chicken. He took a stink face. He's inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame. Bruce Pritchard talks all the time about how Pete just kept asking questions and wanted to understand how things worked. A real class act in coming in there and doing that. And there's a lot of celebrities who have tried to use the WWE when they clearly want nothing to do with it, Jeremy Piven. And you can
Al Sharp.
clearly you
Al Sharp.
yeah, Al Sharpton, you can see through it, Ben Stiller, when they show up on TV and they absolutely want nothing to do with that product. It's why we forgave Jelly Roll for a slightly less than stellar performance at SummerSlam, because he's just a fan. He loves it. Pete Rose was a dude who was like, I want to roll up my sleeves. I want to be a part of it. And that to me is as much a part of his legacy as the baseball career, and the fact that he used to own a heck of a restaurant like 10 minutes from where I live. He would do
Oh,
his radio
seriously?
show there, would do autographs. He's a dude who you want to say he's a cautionary tale, but it's kind of like Reggie Bush. It's like you were a cautionary tale of the time, but quite frankly, in 2024, to say that there are people that are gambling on sports, you turn on the TV, you can't escape. We've been very fortunate to have DraftKings as a sponsor of this show here.
Right.
It's a thing that happens. Obviously, you don't want someone gambling on your own games and throwing them. I understand the integrity and the honor of what's going on there. At the same time, I think the punishment of Pete Rose far outweighed what he did. And if you go and if there's one thing you do today after you're done, the letter he wrote a few years ago to the commissioner saying, I'm 81 years old. I've shown contrition. All I want is that opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame, please. And they didn't do it.
It's
So
unbelievable. It is like I think about, the Mitchell report and all the steroids scandal that went on, obviously, and you think about, what that really affected baseball and how that kind of came into play, and it made almost Rose's transgressions feel minuscule because, say what you will about his character and certain things like that. There's a lot of bad people in Hall of Fame. You can't argue that. And so,
look, we live in a world where Randy Savage was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. We never thought we would see that. The Ultimate Warrior was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Like the one prevailing thing, even in the Vince documentary, is the dude does what's best for business. And I don't think that baseball is better off because Pete Rose was not in the Hall of Fame.
agreed, 100% agreed. Yeah, R.I.P. Amazing hitter, obviously the hit king. So, and it just speaks to like how he was able to make that move from baseball, the diamond, to pro wrestling. It's really well done. So,
He's a great
uh,
character, and that's kind of the high point. I know we're going to talk about last night's episode of Raw.
yeah. Let's talk about it, Robert. So, yeah, what is your initial overall thoughts on this as a go home show for Bad Blood?
Good riddance to the 3 hour Raw.
Yes.
This may have been, for the first 2 hours at least, my least favorite episode of Raw during the Triple H era.
Wow.
I
Really?
thought this episode was listless. I thought this episode felt generally pointless. It felt incredibly skippable for the first 2 hours of a 3 hour broadcast. So much so, part of it due to the COVID and whatever. Like, I went to sleep at 10 o'clock last night. I watched the rest of Raw this morning. I never miss the end of Raw. Like, I power through. I powered through like Thunderdome era Raw, and I was just like, all right, I gotta get some rest. Hour 3 of Raw, absolute home run. First 2 hours of Raw, oh man, was that rough, Tom.
Well, yeah, I did the fortunate thing of recording them on Sling and going through and collecting the highlights this morning. So it didn't feel like a bad Raw to me, but
Don't promote Slit. We don't. They're not a sponsor.
that's right. But I ended up some of the angles and stories that they pulled off in the first hour I thought were kind of fun, particularly Xavier Woods. I'll say I'll just go with that.
The
But
Wood story. So here's the thing. It's like they opened with the Jey Uso promo,
right,
which was a fine emotional promo, and my mom believed in me, and here I am, and I get this opportunity. But then it's like, I'm going to be a fighting champion, and then they don't have him compete this week. I
yeah,
thought for sure we were going to get a Jey Uso Intercontinental title match. Like, let's show that there's nothing. And then Braun Breaker comes out in this show of contrition and this handshake. That was a big concern for me, Dom.
really talk about that. Because I have a different thought on it.
They are rushing this dude unnecessarily.
Okay.
There's a lot of white space between where Braun Breaker is now and where he needs to be at a certain period of time. I earmarked it SummerSlam 2025 is when Braun Breaker would have been built up enough to be the next challenger for Gunther.
Okay.
Take the time, build the progression. They're doing the thing they did with Randy Orton, where we got a young guy, we got a hot hand. Let's race it. You don't need to race it. You've got a lot of talent. You've got a lot of people you can rely on between now, October 1, 2024, and middle to end of next year. Braun Breaker needs to stay at the Intercontinental title level. He needs to be a guy that is earning the respect of the audience week in and week out. This is not the time for him to be a smiling, happy baby face. This is not the time for him to be the guy targeting Gunther. This is the time for this guy to be the face of your upper mid card audience.
So you think they're going to expedite the process of him facing Gunther sooner than later?
I think that there's a temptation there. They definitely teased it,
Hmm.
and it's clear from the booking of this show, Sami Zayn, Gunther next week on Raw was always going to be kind of a throwaway match.
Right.
Nobody
Right.
thought that Sammy was going to ultimately be the one to beat Gunther this early in the run. The fact that it's taking place on the first 2 hour Raw, it's a good way to get eyeballs there, but it is absolutely not going to culminate in anything of significance. If anything, the way Sammy's been positioned of late, I kind of hope they're going to turn him heel.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Like
He,
you mean maybe you go up against Jay or something like that as a further opponent or something to that effect?
he's been he's been so kind of lost in the shuffle, and these constant promos of I'm always disrespected, I'm always discounted, I'm always overlooked. They're whiny Bret Hart promos. They don't make me feel like rah rah. I want to support this guy. It's like, dude, you just sound like you're like whining and complaining. As a wrestling fan, your condition that's a heel.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking more so, like last night. I thought his promo was a very good babyface promo. Really cutting to the
The in
inside of.
ring promo was
Yeah, yeah.
his
Mhm.
backstage promo was not.
Was more the yeah. Okay.
Like, I would have and I look at it as like, "Well, why did we do this? Why was that greenlit during a production meeting?" And my feeling is you're trying to show 2 sides to him because I think his in-ring promo with Gunther was a fiery babyface promo. It laid out the right reasonings for why I want this opportunity, why I beat you before, why I'm gonna beat you again, why you wanna see this. That home run. That was hour 3. The
Yeah.
other promo, hour 2, where you're in the muck and the mire of here comes, Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark.
Well, so let's go back to the Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston dynamic, and that whole story encompassing throughout the whole show. What did you think of that? I thought I was very intrigued by how that day, and then his match with Rey Mysterio, ripping off the mask, kind of creating confusion there, and then him costing Kofi the match later on. Did you like that aspect of the show?
So yeah, the idea that Woods is the reluctant heel, that
Hmm.
he beats Ray in the way heels always beat him, but it was an accident and he didn't mean to do it. And then he's fired up that Kofi's not like high five and congratulations to him, but good news, you're getting an Intercontinental title shot next week. Him accidentally hooking Gable's foot, which winds up costing Kofi the match. It's fine, but there's 2 paths forward here.
Hmm.
Either we're splitting up New Day and we're getting a heel Xavier Woods run, or we're getting close to the 10-year anniversary. We're gonna find ourselves in a situation where they reunite and they get an opportunity at the tag titles and everybody's happy and they hug Big E and everything's good. New Day has always said they were never going to turn on each other. They were never going to split apart. That was what was going to make them different. And they were genuine and sincere with it. So I don't see this ending with a true Woods heel turn. So that's I think a little bit of why it's like, all right, we get the gist of it. Where are we going?
Right. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a breakup of New Day. I just think that it's kind of. long in the tooth. I don't think it has any more leverage or mileage to go anywhere. And then was it? Well, am I wrong in seeing that it was Kofi and Xavier in the backstage segment, and was that Karrion Cross standing in the back? Did you happen to see that?
It was they're teasing Cross. Cross is the guy who's getting in the ears of all the beloved teams and trying to split them up. And that's a more successful character for him than whatever weird satanic cult leader that he's been of late.
The satanic cult leaders. Yeah. Um, yeah. I thought so. That aspect I liked to Raw. Trying to think of some other big takeaways that we have. Oh, let's talk about you mentioned the confrontation, how they didn't necessarily need it. Um, I thought this added a lot more to it and got me more hyped for Bad Blood. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Really,
For
why is that? I'm curious.
well, I thought, they had the security there. They teased maybe like a pull apart or something like that. And I wasn't going to be for that or anything like that. But I really just think Drew coming out in the black suit and hammering home the point that he's going to end CM Punk and he's wearing this suit for his wife and for, the family that's going to mourn him. And I thought that really elevated kind of even the stakes higher for all this stuff is like not only am I going to end you, I'm going to have your wife and your family watch. And then on top of it, Punk fires back with some really like talk about wiping the blood off his face and making him like he's prayed for this to happen and really just a well executed promo. I think they did nothing to hinder it or make it feel overstay its welcome. I really think they elevated this match, and I think the reports are Meltzer might have said something to the effect that this Cody and Jay or Cody and oh my god, who is he tagging with?
Roman Reigns
Roman
hurting?
Reigns.
Yeah.
Yes, Roman Reigns is going to main event Bad Blood. This really made the case for this match to main event the PLE on Saturday. But what are your thoughts, Robert? You have different ones?
I sort of have the opposite takeaway on this. I said before I didn't need to see another round of this,
Mhm.
and it was another round of the same stuff. We've already heard each man say, like, I'm going to kill you. We've heard
Right.
that. We've heard each man say, my wife is not thrilled about this. We heard it again. Punk saying, I've been living in a hotel for 4 weeks was a weird. That was just a weird story beat that I don't think meant a lot. You didn't need the cage. I don't think it sold an extra ticket. I don't think it got an extra eyeball for someone that was going to tune in. Like, we were all on board for what they were doing at Bad Blood. I think we're
Right.
all on board for what this match is going to wind up being. This just felt like this is going to fill a certain amount of time on the show. We're going to do entrances. They're going to stare at each other. It's going to kill 12 minutes of time. And it's one less thing we have to worry about.
Yeah, like I think it did no harm whatsoever, and I honestly do think it kind of elevated it a little bit. And
It
then,
didn't harm, didn't add.
yeah, okay, okay, I think it still kind of elevated it in my
I'm
opinion.
I'm I'm glad it worked for you. I'm sure the live crowd was happy to see Punk and Drew, or as happy as you can be in Evansville, Indiana, home of a beautiful zoo that they could have been at. Kevin Owens probably very upset he wasn't on Raw. He's a big zoo enthusiast.
That's right. Yeah, it's big time zoo
Um,
enthusiast.
and quite frankly, if you wanted to see two mastodons go at it, it's not a Blue Chew plug, by the way, but
No.
that's not one of her. I'm not going to spare you in that. The main event,
Yes.
last monster standing. Was this the spectacle you thought it was going to be, Mister D'Angelo?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I the ring gimmick stuff, you kind of maybe saw it coming, considering the two people involved in that. So it was still a neat visual. And then I loved the return of Seth Rollins. I thought they did that very well. And it just tied everything together. Bronson got his comeuppance on that. He made the decision to take out Rollins to make his own statement to elevate himself. And here it comes back to bite him. So I really like that, and thought it was just a really, really well done spectacle, if you will. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I thought this. The set pieces that they established, going through the announce table early, going through the table up by the ramp, I thought was a really nice touch. This brawling all over the place, going through the first barricade, then going through the second barricade into the fans.
You're right.
Obviously plants, but still, it looked really cool. I thought that the security and everyone flooding out to go check on the injured fans, meaning that Bronson Reed has the win in the middle of the ring. The referee doesn't see it. He's annoyed. I love it. I love everything about what they did there. I thought that the Braun Strowman jumping off the top rope to the horde of security guys was a cool spectacle. Joe Tessitore sold everything beautifully. Only thing, I wish that they didn't mention Seth Rollins earlier in the show.
Oh, good point. It's a good
I
point.
kind of expected this was going to be a Seth Rollins return.
Yeah, he was all over the place for football this weekend. So
I don't remember if I said it on here yesterday or not, but that was kind of what I expected for the finish. It worked. It was a great moment. They're building more. It's, again, a 2-hour Raw. Erases some of the issues and concerns that I had with this show, and you would have had just great beats after beat after beat.
before I whoop it on out of here, I do want to talk about the Miz turning heel. That's been teased. Karrion Kross, another mention of him, and sure enough, he got the bug enough in his ear to have the Miz boot R-Truth and cost them their match against AOP. So, what do you think of this, Robert? Does this hit your radar at all?
Yeah, look, it gave Karrion Kross something to do. He finally was successful. He was a little too successful in turning Odyssey Jones heel, but that's a different story. He got in the Miz's ear. We've split them up. I think Miz is a better heel than a babyface, and he's a dude that I can see them using to challenge Jey Uso for the Intercontinental title in a couple months. He's someone that's incredibly beatable. So, we'll see where that is. R-Truth is always a sympathetic babyface. I'm sold. It works as a lower mid card story.
Yeah, I think it does, and it speaks to like them paying attention to everything on the card, up and down it. When it comes to a lot of that stuff. So, any other takeaways from Raw that stood out to you?
This Judgment Day stuff they need to all move on.
Yeah,
That's what also felt really listless. It's Finn's promo wasn't really where it needed to be. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley was just kind of there. The LWO stuff felt like something I would see on Dynamite. We all need something new. We need a refresh. We need a fresh paint of coat.
Yes. No, I think Rhea going up against Liv at Bad Blood should hopefully be a good blow-off match to the whole freaking thing. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Robert. Yeah, I got to cut out a little early talking to a certain Violent J. Maybe I will try to join the Oddities if they have a faction of going on again. What do you think?
You're like if Kurgan got put in the wash and shrunk.
I'm ready to party.
But we will be back tomorrow. Hopefully you won't be wearing any ridiculous face paint. But we will be here as we are every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ish X account, the SE Scoops X account on YouTube, on Rumor and Innuendo, Working Stiff, and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the most insane clown I've ever posseed with, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Let's gather. Rising.